In the lesson of Unit 3 Music, we are going to learn about the infinitive. An infinitive can be a bare infinitive, for example play, or a to infinitive, for
after
example,
certain verbs, particularly verbs of thinking and feeling or sayings. For example, they decided to start a business together. So after the verb decided, we need to use to infinitive to express the verb of thinking. In the next example, we agreed to meet at the cinema. There is an agreement to do something, so to infinitive is necessary. For a list of these verbs to direct object and then the to infinitive. For example, he encouraged his friends to vote for him. The verb encourage need an object before adding to infinitive. We have a structure, encourage somebody to do something. There are some verbs which need the object because they are to infinitive to show the purpose or result. Firstly, we also use the to infinitive to express purpose, to answer the question why. For example, he bought some flowers to give to his wife. Secondly, we can also express purpose with the phrases in order to and in order not to or so as to and so as not to. For example, we started our journey early in order after certain adjectives. For example, unfortunately, I was unable to work for over a week. In this pattern we can use some adjectives meaning good or bad and adjectives of difficulty, danger and expense. There is no object after the to infinitive gives a reason for the adjective. E.g., we were happy to come to the end of our journey. This sentence has the same meaning as equals we were happy because we had come to the verb plus adjective plus to infinitive clause. We often use this pattern to give opinions. For example, it's easy to play the piano, but it's very difficult with these adjectives to give opinions about people. For example, she was right to complain about that hotel. Some verbs are given. We use the preposition for to show who these adjectives refer to. For example, it was difficult for us to hear what she was saying. With the other adjectives, we use the preposition of, e.g., infinitive as a post modifier, see noun phrases. After abstract nouns like, for example, they gave him an opportunity to escape. We can use an infinitive after some related nouns in the list. And then we often use the to infinitive as a post modifier after indefinite pronouns like someone, anyone, something or else. For example, when I'm traveling I always use to or enough with a quantifier, adjective or adverb. For example, the box is too heavy for me to lift. Or, this book is easy to find. We use to infinitive to express the purpose, ability or result. For example, it took 3 hours to fly to Nha Trang by plane. Or, I find it difficult to learn English. We are going to learn about bare infinitive. It means we use the infinitive without to. Firstly, bare infinitive can be used after modal verbs like can, could, may, might, will, would. For example, I must go. Secondly, bare infinitive is used after auxiliary verbs such as do, does, or did. For instance, they don't like football. The next use of bare infinitive is for the verbs after let / make / have followed by an object. For example, they made him pay for the things he had broken. Or, they let you go in free at the weekend. Lastly, after had better, would rather, would sooner and. Rather than we use bare infinitive. For instance, shall we go by train? Well, I'd rather go by car. I'm tired. I'd rather not go out this evening, if you don't mind. You should pay more attention of the passive in some verbs. The first notice is that the passive form of make is followed by the infinitive with to. For example, he was made to pay for the things he had broken. And after the verbs let, it is no passive form. Shall we use allow instead? For example, we were allowed to go in free at the for listening and let's practice.
In the lesson of Unit 3 Music, we are going to learn about the infinitive. An infinitive can be a bare infinitive, For example, play, or eat to infinitive. For
After
example,
certain verbs, particularly verbs of thinking and feeling or sayings. For example, they decided to start a business together. So after the verb decided, we need to use to infinitive to express the verb of thinking. In the next example, we agreed to meet at the cinema. There is an agreement to do something, so to infinitive is necessary. For a list of these verbs, by a direct object and then the to infinitive. For example, he